Welcome to Behind the Numbers Playoff Edition, fellas. It's good to be back on the podcast. Before I get to the only two games that matter, because there are only two games that matter, I'm sorry. It's been a long season for me, and I'm a little bitter. I'm sure VZ is as well. Our teams aren't even active anymore, and there are 4 teams that went to the bottom. You know what? 5th place is just, well, it's like 5th to last. I mean, it's terrible. Who cares about 5th place? Your games don't matter. I'm not even going to talk about them on the podcast or dignify your teams as though they exist anymore. To me, you're all the Miami Dolphins, and there's really no reason to point out anything else. But first, I need to talk about Brandon's outburst on the message board. Brandon, usually a pretty quiet cat, except when he's telling me to go to hell. But other than that, he's been pretty quiet for years now. Suddenly, he lashes out at PBS2 here, and that's really just... That was amazing, to be honest with you. I'm just glad somebody said it. It's like we're all sitting around in a room, and there's that elephant in the room, and somebody just needs to address it. And the fact of the matter is, AJ has been a pathetic manager this year. He's missed more starting lineups, messed up his lineup more often than any manager that's been in the league. Aaron Hinton, Chris Norris, all of them, Jeff Blythe, all of them together don't even add up to the pathetic nature of this manager. He's done nothing. He's been worthless, and it's going to finally catch up to him this week. Let's go ahead and go to his game, 40 Acres and a Mule versus This Is Our Country. All right, probationary status number 2. You've been skating by the last few weeks on Tom Brady alone. Now, Tom Brady is a great player. He's helped more than a few fantasy teams cover up over some problems that they've been having. But it's just not going to necessarily hold up to be enough forever, particularly when you start to hit the injury bug. Now, Braylon Edwards is a pretty key player, and Brian Westbrook is also important to your team when he actually makes it into the lineup. Since he is the number 1 running back, maybe you might want to, play him every once in a while. But anyway, so other than that, though, there's really just injuries are starting to hit the team. Larry Fitzgerald is on again, off again, can't really make it to the field. Reggie Bush is out for the season. In case you missed that memo, you might want to pull him out of your lineup. And there's just nothing really spectacular going on this team. It kind of went downhill a little bit, and the reason for that is let's call hands-off fantasy managing for what it is. Skating by on luck. You're just going by the luck of the draw. You drafted your team. You hoped it would hold up the whole season, but guess what? I don't think it's going to be able to do that. I'm sorry, but Chris is hitting his stride right at the right time. Drew Brees is actually playing like, well, Drew Brees. Greg Jennings is the receiver that Donald Driver actually should be. Joey Galloway still seems ageless. Willie Parker, he's contributing just enough to get by. But McGahee has really come on strong here as of late. And I foresee Baltimore having to put up some points against Miami this week if they're going to be able to continue the dream season. And for goodness sake, please, Baltimore, keep up the dream season. Don't ruin me now. And Chris is going to get 15 points out of his defense. So, that's kind of the X factor for him. I think it's going to be enough this week for him to just make it past. Tom Brady's going to have a great game. He's always going to have a great game. But I don't think he's going to put up 50, and I think AJ's going to need 50 if he's going to win this week. So I'm going to give the nod to Chris Umflett to make it to the championship game. Okay, let's break this game down for probationary status number 1 and Jeff down by position by position. Brandon's kind of right about this. You've seen Jeff playing in this league for so long. He's been so close. He's always fielded a competitive team. You almost have to root for him in the little crouton. I don't know if he's really got enough this week. First off, let's start with the quarterbacks. We've got Tony Romo versus David Garrard. Now, Garrard has played an absolutely amazing fantasy season. He's outperformed any expectations. He's fought through an injury, and he's really just been just a warrior out there. But he's not Tony Romo, and he's not going to put up those kind of numbers, particularly against the vaunted Steelers defense. I don't really know what Troy Polamalu's status is for this week, but if he's on the field, the Steelers really present a problem for Garrard. He may even throw his first interception of the year. This really could be an issue. I tend to think he's a solid play. He's going to get you about 10 points, but Romo's always a threat to go for 30. So you definitely have to give Billy the advantage on that one. As far as the wide receivers go, Hushmanzada has really been changed. His game has been changed since Chris Henry returned and the reemergence of number 85. And Hoosh just hasn't been the same player the last 3 or 4 weeks, maybe 5 weeks. Not the guy you can count on. Plaxico Burress, you just never know how his ankle's going to feel in a given week, whether he's going to be able to produce or not, or whether Eli Manning's going to be able to get him the ball. And now that Dante Stallworth is really the odd man out with the Patriots, and Jabbar Gaffney is gaining some reps in his place, Billy's really left without a number 3 wide receiver. And, because Chris Chambers, I'm sorry, he doesn't count. T.O. has really been phenomenal this year. He's put on a great show, and now that he's at that back and forth with Keyshawn this week, I think he's going to put up some pretty big numbers, and he'll help to neutralize Romo. Deion Branch, it's a crapshoot in Seattle who's going to get the touchdown that week, but we'll see how he does. Brandon Marshall, I think if he's fully healthy, he's going to give Jeff a little lead on Thursday night, get him out in front early, and when Billy's down early, he really tends to panic, and that could be an issue for the game. So I'm going to give Jeff the nod at the wide receiver position. At the running back, you got Marion Barber and Adrian Peterson for Billy. Barber went for 3 touchdowns last week. I don't see that happening again, but he's a solid play. He should be in his lineup every week, and he's definitely pulling his load. Adrian Peterson, he's going to be going on Monday night, and it's really just a question of which Adrian Peterson shows up, the one that takes a backseat to Chester Taylor, or the one who dominates this league and looks like they might be a number 1 pick next year. Really, it's just going to depend on what happens on Monday night. That could be the difference in the game. For Jeff, Ernest Graham, he's been admirable in the starts he's had. Atlanta's in an absolute downturn now that Bobby Petrino is in there, or is in with Arkansas now, and Edgerrin James can pretty much never score and never get the job done. So I definitely have to give Billy the advantage on the running backs. Tight end, Jason Witten has done some amazing things this year. Jeremy Shockey's done just about exactly what you expect out of him. He hasn't been injured, and he's been solid, but Witten's always capable of changing the game, particularly with that double up with Tony Romo. When they go for a touchdown, Billy wins pretty much every week. Kickers don't matter. Defense, Baltimore, it's been a tough couple weeks for Baltimore. They just got beat by the Patriots and then got throttled by the Colts. You have to wonder whether they're really packing it in. Again, please don't. If you pack it in right now, I'm going to have to take your soul. New England has a solid defense, and they're going up against the Jets. And Kellen Clemens is probably going to throw about 3 or 4 interceptions. So that's going to help, and they might go for a touchdown, and I'm going to give Billy the nod there. So really, this game I don't think is going to be close enough. I think actually Billy will probably be winning going into the Monday night game. Might even be able to pull Adrian Peterson if he wants to. Not even have to play him, and I think he's going to end up on top. And so we'll see Show Me the Money versus This Is Our Country in the championship game next week. Okay, that's it for the podcast this week. Just one more thing on Brandon's comments on the message board, because at this point I consider them legendary. You cannot, under any circumstances, refer to somebody as Bobby Petrino. That is the most terrible thing that has ever been said on this message board. That is like 10 times worse than Burgate. It's 10 times worse than telling me to go to hell. If you want to call somebody a name, call him Hitler, call him Judas, call him the devil, but Bobby Petrino, that's just too low, all right? That's just absolutely uncalled for. All right, that's all I got for the podcast this week. I'll see you next week with a championship prediction.